Well, welcome everyone. I'm Jenny Riggenbach. I'm the CEO of the Community Foundation of Central Wisconsin, and welcome to our February Community Lunch Hour. Today I am joined by Sami Sinsky and Ann Lee Peck, both with ODC. We're going to learn a little bit about the history of ODC as an organization in Central Wisconsin with a long history and a more current history in Portage and West Shore counties, as well as Sami's program, Better Together. A lot of great opportunities to connect there. And then we're going to talk about Disability Awareness Month that's coming up in March. And Sami and Ann are going to give us some tips on ways that we can continue to be better neighbors and friends in our community. So welcome, Ann and Sami.
Hey, thank you.
Awesome. How about before we get started, how about we just learn a little bit more about each of you? Ann, I'll start with you since I've known you the longest. And it's been a long time now.
Very long time.
Yes. So you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you found yourself at ODC?
Sure. Well, I'm Ann, and I am part of the Public Relations Fund Development Committee, department, but I've been with ODC for over 30 years. And so I've done a lot of different things with the organization, starting with employment, some sales, customer service, and now some public relations fund development. So I never would have guessed I'd have been here 30 years, but yep, Jenny and I, we met long time ago. And so it's just amazing on how things kind of come full circle. So excited to be here, and thanks everybody for joining us.
They sure do come full circle. That's a great way to say it. Sami, how about you? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to ODC?
Sure. My passions are education and inclusion. So I was a special education teacher for 8 years, and then came to ODC just about 2 years ago. They saved the Better Together program, and we couldn't be a more perfect fit. And so very grateful that this work gets to continue.
Awesome. And we're going to learn more about that in just a few minutes. So nice teaser. But Ann, let's talk a little bit about ODC. I know I met you, gosh, it was like 15 years ago, if you can believe that. And just immediately overwhelmed by what an amazing organization ODC was. Pam Ross was the executive director at the time. I can't even remember what role you were in, but you've done so many things. And just to see it grow and flourish during a period of time where many organizations serving people with disabilities were struggling, it's been really fun to watch it grow under Pam's leadership, under Julie's leadership. Can you just tell us a little bit about that history of just ODC in general, and then maybe give us a little bit of the more current picture of what brought you to Portage and West Shore counties?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, ODC has been around a very long time. We actually began in 1965, and it really was a group of parents that wanted something more for their children with disabilities. And so back at that time, people with disabilities weren't necessarily included so much in the community. And so they started what were called workshops for people with disabilities. And so fast forward however many years, and back at that time, we were in basically Wood County, South and North Wood County, serving people with disabilities and just providing some employment support. Again, most of the things were happening within the walls within ODC here in Rapids, and then also in Marshfield. And as time went on, people really wanted more for their adult children, to be able to be more involved and included in the community. And so then we started to add some community employment. But again, as time went along, more and more people were looking at inclusion for all people in our communities. And so really probably I would say about 15 years ago is when we really started to reevaluate, how we were supporting people with disabilities, and that people with disabilities want the same thing as everybody else, right? To have a full life and be included in things like that. So we really grew from that one county to now we're in over 13 counties in central Wisconsin. And so, and again, we've really expanded as needs have been presented to us. We've been able to take those opportunities to really expand some things. So we went from really providing employment services to some day services, some daily living skills, independent living. We offered some virtual services. We offer school to work transition services. So it really transitioned from supporting adults with disabilities and employment to supporting all people of all abilities in all facets of their life. So really excited about that. And we had been in Portage County a little bit, but really what happened in 2017 is Community Industries. We actually merged with Community Industries in 2017. So that's really when our presence in Portage County became very prevalent. And then actually last year, we expanded to Waushara County. There was a need for some day services opportunities with Waushara Industries closing. There was a need and an opportunity there. And so I would say we're very progressive in, providing and supporting the needs that are out there. And we're real excited to be in over 13 counties and serving over 1,000 people every year in those counties.
Amazing. And there's one program in particular that Sami focuses on, and that's Better Together. Something else that started, I love what you said, Ann, right? Like so much of this great work starts with people with just a passion, and that there were parents that wanted something more. And Sami, I think Better Together has a similar story. Do you want to tell us that story and how you came under the umbrella of ODC?
Yeah, Better Together started as an idea in the 80s and 90s that all people are valuable and can bring something to a relationship. So John O'Keefe started this program. It was called Community Partners, based on Wolf Wolfensberger's work of social role valorization, so that every role has valor, it has purpose and meaning. And so John O'Keefe started this Community Partners idea, one-to-one friendship. It's kind of like the Big Brothers Big Sisters model, except for adults with disabilities, and adults with disabilities were matched with volunteers in the community to be friends. And that program has continued and grown. And from that, some other program called Community Friends was born, and they were like sister programs. So Community Partners was the one-to-one friendship, and then Community Friends was a once-a-month social gathering. So people who might not have had a matched friend could still participate and get together and be social. And so a couple of years ago, I heard that the Community Partners organization had changed and maybe dissolving. And I said, this is something that was important to me, because when I was 20, I was matched with an individual named Megan, and she and I were friends for 13 years until she passed. We were in each other's lives. And so I want this program to continue so that everybody can have this opportunity, that this program can grow and change everybody's life. So ODC, we met with Julie and Mindy, and it was a quick, easy yes. Julie used the word synergy a lot, that what we had been doing all of these years and what ODC is doing just fit really beautifully together. And so we've been growing together, working with lots of people throughout ODC to bring this program to Portage County, and then eventually grow it to, dang it, Ann, 13 counties. So the goal is to grow it everywhere, but really start strong here.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. So, I just want to point out, Kaying had put in the chat, if you have questions or you want to engage in the conversation at all, please do. You can raise your hand, come off of mute, or you can chat something in the chat, and we'll be monitoring all of that. So we really encourage you to jump in and participate if you'd like. Well, the history it is remarkable. And I do want to, before we kind of get into more tips and tricks for how to stay most current in being a good friend and neighbor in our community, I do want to just mention, like, it's what something is so special about ODC and that you're not just expanding your footprint into 13 counties and expanding your offerings. You do that with such thought and intentionality. And could you just share a little bit about, like, why did this make sense? When Sami says, you know, that it was synergies with this program, what really struck you as why this one would be such a good fit with ODC?
Yeah, so you're right. Everything that we do is very intentional. And the other thing I would mention is really we're about collaborating and filling a need that's out there versus, you know, competing with other agencies that are out there. So really these are needs that people have that we want to help fill that gap. But it really made a lot of sense for this particular program because we really expanded our community services piece of ODC actually back in 2020 as a result of the pandemic. There were a lot of gaps in services, and one of the gaps was people getting in-home support, people needing other avenues for socialization. And then when this program became, you know, was struggling to kind of reinvent itself under the previous organization, it just made sense because it's everything that we do in our community services. It's about connecting people to their communities. It's about people knowing all that's happening in their communities so they can participate. It just really made a lot of sense to provide it as a wraparound service because, again, we expanded from not just employment, but to supporting the person overall as a whole. You know, none of us just go to work, go home, go to bed, go to work, go home, right? We have lives outside of work. And so this is really, you know, really that was kind of the new focus, was to take on how do we support people to live full lives? And so Better Together just made sense and it fit right within what we're trying to accomplish. And so it's been really great. And to have Sami take that on from being part of it, it was just a seamless transition. So.
Cool. And Sami, could you just walk us through a little bit, what does it mean to be a friend and how does the Better Together program work?
Yeah, it's really simple and really life-changing. I say that to everybody when I talk about this program, like it's friendship, right? Like it's easy to be a friend, but it's also really, really meaningful and life-changing. So we will get a referral for an adult with a disability who is looking for a friend in this program. And then I'll get to know that person, their interests, and what they're interested in doing with their friend, but also like kind of who specifically they would like for a friend. Some people prefer people their own age. Some people prefer people of the same gender. Some people don't like cats, so they can't be partnered with cats. It's very specific to the person. And then, you know, there's a volunteer shortage worldwide, not just in our little program. So whenever we get a volunteer, I match them as quickly as they can with one of the people who are on our wait list based on their similar interests. So two people that I'm partnering just very recently, they like to sing and they like to be involved, and they were coming to the community friends events when it was community friends, but now they realize they want to be close friends, that the two of them want to be matched. And so they can continue to do all of those things together and then have the support of Better Together to continue to bring them together, and then to their once a month group activities, which grows the community. When I was in this program with Megan for 13 years, there wasn't a lot of whole group activity. It was just she and I was a poor college kid, so there wasn't a lot that I could do. And, you know, a lot of adults with disabilities don't have funds to spend like crazy either. So it was challenging and sometimes lonely. So this once a month gathering that we do pairs all together so that people can get to know one another and organically form extra friendships. Two groups of friends recently went out to a movie together. So these things are happening organically and naturally as we hoped. So.
Very good. And so the program really is people in the community volunteering to be matched with someone with disabilities and to really just enjoy the community together. Is that a good way to think about it? If I might be a volunteer thinking of opportunities?
That's absolutely it. And all of us don't have any extra time. I don't know anybody who's like, well, I've got extra time. This opportunity isn't something that you need extra time for. You build it into your life. So we have a young man with a disability who's a friend in our family now. He comes over for supper. We go and watch him when he does special sports at the Y. We went to Night to Shine together this Friday. He's coming to our son's birthday party in 2 weeks. So it just fits our lifestyle. So the recommendation is twice a month. Some friends see each other more, some friends less, depending on sickness or travel. But it fits into your life. So it's not something extra that you have to do. It's someone you get to do life with.
Yeah, very nice. And can you share, do you have any data for us on waiting list of people that you have waiting to be matched?
Yeah, we have 10 friends waiting to be matched, 3 females and 7 males. That's kind of the statistic everywhere. We need more males to volunteer to be friends. And in doing so, bring a buddy.
There you go. And it's all adults, correct? In terms of age range? Okay. Anyone over 18 is?
Yeah, we have 18-year-olds to 80-year-olds.
Wow, nice. And what's the longest friend relationship do you have right now?
Sue and Janet have been friends for 15 years.
Wow, nice. Very good. And I know sometimes people, the apprehension is, oh, I don't know if I can commit 18 years to a friendship. Can you just talk a little bit about the support that you provide when maybe it's not quite the right match, or when a family is like circumstances change and maybe they need to shift their relationships in the community? How do you support people who might kind of on the fence with questions like that?
Yeah, this isn't I match you and then you're on your way and we don't talk anymore, right? I keep checking in when friends are matched. I asked if they want to go on their first outing with me, and then we can do that together, and then just keep checking in. The monthly events help, right? Because it gives a place and a space for them to go where the event is free, the event is supported, and there's more people doing the same thing. But we've had that. We've had friends who their life has changed. We had a young woman volunteer from Century, and she was matched with a really fun person, but she had mental health struggles that she was dealing with, and she didn't feel that she could give a true friendship to her friend at that time. So I was really glad that she told me that, and took a little bit to get that out because they weren't getting together. And I was like, can you tell me about that? And she did. And so we found that the friend, the young person with a disability, a new friend, and they have been getting together so often, even more than they're required, 2 times a month. So that happens. That's real life. That's friendship. But I don't ever just leave the friends and that's it. So we keep talking and building together.
That's right. It's real life, right? And
Mhm.
I love that you create, and this is to any program I've ever experienced from ODC, you just create this really honest relationship, whether it's with, between the friends you're talking about, or even between organizations like the Community Foundation who host volunteer for work experience. And do you mind telling us a little bit more about the other services and programs? You alluded to a few, but I think just to give our listeners a sense of the array of programs available at ODC.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, so I mentioned employment. That's been something that we've done ever since our existence. But really, again, it's all about supporting people with disabilities in all aspects. So we do offer some transition services in the schools. We have 4 project search sites, which are sites that are located at host businesses where students that are in their last year of high school get to participate in on-the-job training at a host business. We have independent living, daily living skills. So again, supporting people in not only finding housing, but then what does that mean to keep up housing and to pay your bills and to budget and all of those kinds of things. we're offering children's long-term support now. So again, a lot of these things that we're offering now really happened when the pandemic hit because there were so many other needs. You know, when the schools closed, parents that still needed to go to work didn't have a place for their student with a disability. And so that's really how we ended up with some of the children's long-term support services to kind of support that.
I'm
We
sorry,
offer.
and I'm not familiar with that one. What does that include, the children's long-term support?
So we're doing some of the so we're doing some summer programming and some after school programming. So initially it started out as more of supporting like school getting through schoolwork and those kinds of things, kind of that virtual learning piece. But again, now it's really about independent living skills, but really supporting younger kids on what that means to be, you know, have chores and responsibilities and to be safe on the internet and, you know, things like that. So important information, but more on a, you know, what would we be teaching our kids, you know, at those particular ages. So
Oh, very interesting. And how
yeah.
young are you working with kids?
I think maybe around 7, 8, 9-ish
Hey,
would be the
wow.
youngest. Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Yep.
very good. Like, wow, what a shift. And again, what I hear you saying is it was a need. Like I can imagine it being a need for my own children when through the pandemic. Very good.
Yep. You know,
Yeah, go ahead.
the other real big thing that we've since 2018 is our mental health services.
Mhm.
And so that really grew out of an idea of a staff person that really felt that that was another area of need, and certainly is. And so we started with providing community mental health services, so supporting people specifically with mental health needs around independent living, finding a job, like all of those pieces, but really tailored to that individual and their needs. And then out of that came our mental health clinics. So we now have an outpatient clinic here in Wisconsin Rapids, and we also have an outpatient mental health clinic in Stevens Point, located at the Inclusa Not-for-Profit Center. And that has been going very, very well. We are looking for counselors. So if anybody knows anybody that would be interested in being a therapist, have them reach out to us. But super excited about kind of what's happening with our clinics and just the growth. And the biggest thing around our clinics, well, a couple things. We are also providing, so we've got some satellite locations in some rural school districts. So we have a therapist that is at Kennedy Elementary in Junction City 1 day a week. We're looking to do some other expansion. We have some other schools in Inclusa and Pittsville as well. Again, looking to do some expansion and just really have some great things around mental health services that are happening. So
Good. Is that service available in Washera County yet or not? Not yet.
not yet, but it is
Okay.
being, we are looking at it right now. Washera County has been primarily the day services, but I know that we are in process of looking at expanding employment, and then also mental health services in Washera County. So it is in the works. And again, I will say that really when we try and do these things, we're very thoughtful and do it if it makes sense, and making sure that we have the capacity to do it, because what we don't want is to start something and then not be able to really follow through on that. So really excited about what's happening with mental health services. So
Great. I'm hoping you can touch on one more program. So I know the foundation, we have Chad who comes in and he does some shredding for us and other things. What is that program? Can you tell us about that and how what kinds of partners you're looking for in that situation?
Sure, absolutely. So we offer employment opportunities, or we help support employment opportunities for people. So there's a couple of different programs that we offer. So we're looking for employers that have job tasks that need to be filled. And really what we pride ourselves on is we would understand and know what your business is looking for. And then we, like Sami matches friends, we match a potential employee to the business to support to support you in your business. And so there are different programs available. Some are short-term, some are long-term. The one in particular, I think, with you is we have someone that has a job coach that attends with that person or checks in on a regular basis. And then there are others that, they just really need that help getting connected and getting started on the job. But all of the support we provide is to help that person be as independent as possible, to fit into the workplace, to do a good job, and to be kind of that liaison. Again, like Sammy's the liaison between the friends. We're the liaison between the employee and the employer to ensure that everything is going well and help to make sure that people are as independent as possible.
Very good. And we're providing a volunteer opportunity for Chad, and then Joel comes with him, like you mentioned, his job coach. But you're also sometimes these positions are paid. Am I correct about that?
Yes. We actually work with over 430 employers throughout our counties that are hiring paid employees to do work in their facilities. And so what's unique about it is, now sometimes people have just small portions of jobs that aren't getting done. They kind of, they're on everybody's list, but they're always at the bottom of everybody's list. And so a lot of the folks we support, they're looking for, part-time positions. And so maybe they really want to just do one or two tasks that Jenny or I are never getting to on our list. And so, there's opportunities to look at, what that would look like. So we're not looking for full-time jobs typically. I know we've had people work as few as 4 or 5 hours a week. So it just really depends and really varies. And so we just like to have conversations with businesses around what are your needs, and then let's brainstorm together on how can we fill those needs and make it mutually beneficial to everyone.
Looks like we have a comment here. I just want to read it from Ricky Harry. We've served, Marshfield Clinic has served as a project search site in the past, and I have nothing but great things to say about partnering with ODC to match their clients with needs in your workplace. Fantastic.
Great, thank you.
I want to
go ahead, Sammy.
I want to just piggyback off of that because in the last couple of weeks I've had a mutual friend. She was just talking about ODC to somebody, and that employer said, well, we would be interested in hiring somebody with a disability to do our intake. Like it was their first thought. It wasn't an afterthought. Wow. And so that's so exciting that by being connected in the community and by talking about things, just like we're doing today, we're putting that idea in the front of people's minds instead of always in the back. And they've already had somebody come and tour, and we're excited that 1 or 2 people might start working.
Sammy, that's it's so rewarding to hear that. I mean, when I think back to when I met Ann and Pam, I had come over to ODC in Rapids for a tour to see their contract work with the post office and a couple of light manufacturers where at that time, I think, Ann, everybody came to the workshop in Rapids, and that's where they spent their entire day. And then policies changed, and the federal government wanted to see people more engaged in the community. And again, watching all of your work pay off and being thoughtful to that, to today being like top of mind for organizations, it's so cool to see. So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And we, at one time you mentioned, Jenny, like at one time there were literally in Wisconsin Rapids alone over 200 employees in this building. In the building. Today, there's probably 20. And we have a few day services groups that are here, but the majority are out in the community. So if you would come here today, it looks completely different from even 5 years ago, 10 years. It's completely different. It's completely shifted to all community-based opportunities.
And and that change feels slow when you're in it, but boy, it is. You just think 10 years goes by like that, and when you do it so well and thoughtfully, you're positioned to grow and expand. So very good. Okay, let's shift gears a little bit here and talk about, if anybody has questions or other comments, please don't hesitate to jump in. We can always come back to programming. But we wanted to talk about, we intentionally, when Sami reached out, it was like, yes, let's do it in February to gear people up for March, which is Disabilities Awareness Month. And I know Sami and Ann, you both just tag teamed on Mid-State's DEI Applied Conference and did a session on inclusivity focused around people with disabilities. So I wanted to just give you a chance to give us both some tips around inclusivity. I know, for myself, as I get older, I definitely am always stopping and trying to pause and like thinking about, do I have the language right? Am I approaching this in the same way as I did 5 years ago? Do I need to update my the way I think about people with disabilities or language? So Sami, why don't you start us off and talk to us a little bit about the awareness.
Yeah, when we were asked to present at the DEI conference, I immediately said yes. And I immediately said, Ann, please come with me. And she immediately said yes. That's how we got here too, right, Ann? But when I think DEI, I always think inclusion of adults with disabilities or children with disabilities. That's where my mind goes. But I think when you have this thought of DEI, some people go right to race. And so I really wanted to take the opportunity to share about how we can be inclusive to adults with disabilities. But it's the same way that we can be inclusive of people with any difference. So some really basic things that we shared are that you can include disability accounts on your social media, right? Everybody's scrolling on their phone, always, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, or whatever else the new things are that I don't know. It's a privilege to educate yourself, right? And if we can do that through social media, something we're just doing regularly, then why not?
So Sami, you mean like intentionally seeking out and follow, and maybe you have some good examples for us of good follows that we could tag onto on Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah, I'll drop a few in the chat. And this idea started for me when George Floyd happened, right? We were encouraged to follow people who are more diverse than us, but that didn't necessarily go into disability. So to expand who you follow expands what you learn, expands who you know and how you know things. Because marginalization isn't just mainstream, right? We don't see those things every day, all the time. So we need to educate ourselves on disability and inclusion. So I'll drop some names in the comments here.
Right. Well, Sami's doing that. And do you want to talk a little bit about some of the ways that we can include people in authentic ways?
Sure. I think it really is about just being kind human beings, right? Like, what I like to tell people is people with disabilities aren't any different than any one of us. They all, we all want the same things in life. We all want to work. We all want friends. We all want to have a social life. And so it might just be, making sure that when you're out and about, if you think about it, like if you're out shopping, somebody might make eye contact with you, right? And it's really about saying hi. So maybe a person with a disability has, maybe it's quite, noticeable, but don't shy away from that, right? They're still a person and they'd like to, so really just being authentic around when you're connecting with people in general, just having those kind of general conversations and included, authentically around, how would you interact with anybody else that you might see out in the community? And so, and it's about, striking up conversations, again, we're all out and about and we've all struck up conversations with perfect strangers. I mean, again, it's not really any different. And so it's really just about being a good human, no matter, who the person is. And the other thing I like to tell people about it is, there are times when, people in our lives have, had strokes or they've had car accidents. And so I like to remind people that you know, we probably all have people we know that have disabilities. And so how do we want those folks treated, and how would we want others to treat them? And then keep in mind, it could be any one of us at any point in time. And so I like to remind people that, you know, things happen, life happens, and, you know, we'd all want to be treated, you know, with kindness, respect, and dignity. So just keep those things in mind as you go about your daily life.
That is such a powerful reminder.
The people that I dropped in the comments are all very different to follow. Ben Drew of Open Future Learning, they have videos about support people, how they support people with disabilities, and it's just fun and it's funny, and it really is brings a lightness to situations that might feel kind of heavy. So give him a follow. And then Special Books by Special Kids. Yes, they're books, but it's also an account you can follow that brings to light different disabilities that you wouldn't know of. And even me, like, I think I know so much, but I learn stuff all the time from them. And then when Ann's talking about how to be a good person, people don't know how to people anymore. And sometimes I'm guilty of that too, right? Not people, even with people with disabilities, but all people. And in the book by Emily Ladau, she talks about demystifying disability. And it is an easy read and it's a fun read. It's like this. It's like having a conversation. She tells you what to say, what to do, and how to be an ally. And I can't recommend it enough.
Very good. Can you give us some examples of things that were pretty powerful for you from her book?
I think she talks about her experience being othered. That's something my team and I have been talking in the work that we do. We're put into other categories, so we're not seen as human. She and her mom both have the same disability that shows as a physical disability as well. And so, you know, she was questioned. Her mom was questioned. Well, why would you even have kids then? Because we're loving people, and we have worth, and we have lots to share. And that's the same for all of the people that we support.
That's pretty powerful. And you mentioned allies, Sam. What are some of the things that we can do to be good allies? I know that's another, you know, DEI, diversity, inclusion, and equity idea that's getting a lot more play. Can you help us understand what does it mean to be a good ally?
Yeah, there's my favorite quote in that book that talks about being an accomplice, how being more than being an ally is being an accomplice, because you're not doing it on behalf of somebody, you're walking with them to do those things. And I shared that quote in this book with Ben Nuss when he helped put together an inclusive awareness career opportunity for us at Midstate, and our participants from ODC got to come and experience what it feels like to be a mid-state student. And so that's walking together, that's seeing a need, like Ann had mentioned, and meeting it. These people that we support want to be included in all the ways, in education. My passion got to line up. And so walking the walk with the people who are marginalized. When I started working with the community foundation and then the Portage County Disability Coalition, some of our members who have disabilities said, we don't want our mission to have the word helping, right? We don't want to be helped. We want to work together to create the change that we want to see. And that's something that's really stuck out in this book and in the work that we do, in all the things that we do.
Yes. I love that, questioning the word help. It is, it changes your perspective if you have to remove that word, and how you think about, like you talked about, what you described as what that means then to be an ally or an accomplice. I like that a lot.
I just wanted to interject. So, you know, kind of going off of that, ODC's mission is to empower people with disabilities to achieve their work and life goals. So again, it's not about helping, it's how do we empower and how do we support so that they can, you know, reach their goals.
Yeah. And where do you find some of the greatest challenges right now for people who want to be accomplices or allies? Ways to educate on where are some of the challenges?
I think it's the not knowing. I love and hate that phrase, you don't know what you don't know. But it's true, right? So we have to put these ideas in front of ourselves. So that's why reading books or following on social media can help bring those ideas forward. And volunteering, like in my Better Together program, people might not feel comfortable. I don't know if I want to be paired one-to-one with an adult with a disability. There's a fear because there's a stigma around it. So doing it with somebody, we have one of our volunteers online, and she does it with her mother-in-law. They came to the Better Together program and said, we want to do this together. And they have this beautiful friendship now. So bringing a buddy, doing it with somebody, right? People say that when they hit January and start working out and not drinking. Well, it's the same for everything. It goes better when you have a buddy. So to have somebody to talk to about things is really helpful.
Laura, would you mind coming off mute and telling us a little bit about your story?
Sure. So actually, I don't even know how much of this Sami knows, but I was actually pretty depressed last year. And that was kind of something that helped me come out of myself. And this idea of like, oh, I'm just suffering in silence is finding ways that you can connect with other people. And so it was just this really nice opportunity to get the focus beyond my own little head and just start making connections in ways that I hadn't explored before. So my mother-in-law and I have this wonderful friend named Laura, and we've been meeting regularly for the past year, and I just love it. And I hope that other people can also get beyond themselves and their fears and just try something new and just make those new connections, because the world gets better when you make better connections. And I'm really grateful for the program.
Thanks,
I have
Laura.
to say
what a
that
great reminder that it goes both ways, right? Those
Right.
relationships.
that's what Laura said when I asked her to talk about the program. She said, you can make a difference just by being yourself. How else can you do that when you show up and you just get to be yourself and you make a difference? That's pretty huge.
Awesome. So Laura, what kinds of things do you, Laura and Cindy, do together?
Yeah, we go to movies. I invited her to Levitt Amp, the concert series over the summer, and that was really fun. We actually met with a group of people, of friend pairs. We'll get together and we'll paint, or we'll go out for dinner. I mean, it's things that you would like to do, and just invite somebody along, and it's just nice.
Very good. Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments that anybody has, please pop in. We'd love it. Sami, do you want to talk a little bit about an event that you have coming up?
Yes, thank you. We, as the Portage County Disability Coalition, are hosting a community inclusion showcase. Doesn't that sound like a great event just because of the name of it? Dana from Create helped us come up with that. That will be March 12th. As we celebrate Disability Awareness Month, we're hosting it from 1 to 6 p.m. at the Nonprofit Center, the old Delta Dental building. And what it is a place to come and learn about ways we can be inclusive. It's not just for adults with disabilities to come and learn about organizations that support them, but it's ways for people from the community to come in and learn ways to get involved. So just like Laura talked about, not really knowing what to do, well, come and join us on the 12th and we'll give you lots of ideas of things to do.
Awesome. So that's Tuesday, March 12th from 1 to 6 here at the Commons in our building. Very fun to see that room getting used. I think people are going to start to really find it to be a wonderful space. Cool. I'm just going to try and share my screen here so you can see. And we'll drop this also in the, did I share the right thing? Are you looking at my email? Just kidding.
Good.
There it is. And we'll put this in the blog Kying is going to put together around this and send out to all of you. That'll have this information in it as well. Well, before we close out, is there anything else that you would like to share that we didn't get to, Sami or Ann?
I would like to thank Century. They were our first 2024 sponsor who supported our Better Together whole group event. They took us curling and the curling club. How fun. None of us had been curling before, so that was exciting. I'd also like to thank Delta Dental. They're putting on our game day event February 20th. So this is an opportunity for the pairs of friends and people waiting for friends to come together and have an event. Also, it's an opportunity for the organization to bring volunteers in from their company to get to know these people and in hopes that they might want to join our program as well.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Ann, any other things for you from you?
Yeah, just a couple of quick things. So kind of tagging along with thank yous. Do want to thank the Community Foundation of Central Wisconsin and also United Way of Portage County. They've supported us in getting some of these new programs up and running. So we really appreciate that. I would just also encourage people to like and follow us on Facebook. That's where you can get all the latest up-to-date information. We've got some great fundraising events coming up here this year that you guys won't want to miss. So you'll want to check those out. Those will be on Facebook and then also on our webpage. So just encourage you all to kind of stay connected with us and let us know if you'd like to get on our mailing list, things like that. So we'd love to have you help us spread the word and just know more about ODC and what we're doing.
Awesome. Thanks, Ann. And I want to just put a plug in that if you're interested in supporting ODC services in Portage and West Shara counties long into the future, they do have an endowment here at the Community Foundation that is focused on their work in just those two counties. And so that's always an option as well. Yeah, so thank you both for joining us. This was really delightful. It's so much fun to see ODC and all the things that you're touching and doing. And we've so enjoyed, Sami, getting to know you. I know Marley is so proud of all the work and supporting you to find a good home, and watching you flourish makes us all very happy. So congratulations to all of you.
Thank you.
Yes, so next month we have another really special community lunch hour. Corey Hirschberner, the superintendent from Stevens Point Area Public Schools, is going to be joining us to talk about the upcoming referendum and giving an overview of that. I got a preview of it last week, and it's really good information. So, so I really hope you can join us for that. If you have questions specifically for Corey in advance, you want to make sure to hear, don't hesitate to send an email our way, and we will make sure that she has that question. So that is going to be Monday, March 12th, right at noon via Zoom, just like we are here today. Yeah, so with that, I think we'll let you get back to the rest of your day. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.